Well, hello and welcome to the International Women in Business Virtual Expo Summit. And we are now going to experience a fantastic speaker, Helen Mac, who is been in business for a very long time, and she's giving us key strategies for small business success. We're all looking forward towards a new year coming soon. So we want to hear, Helen, from you. Please introduce yourself further and let us hear your insights and your wisdom on your topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sigrid, and thank you for hosting this fabulous event and this opportunity for us to share our thoughts, the knowledge that we've garnered over the years. I do sometimes feel like it's been a very long time. I try not to make references to things that I used to do in my past, because I talk to some of the younger people and you see their eyes glaze over. It's like, oh, that's before your time, and that's happening more and more. So hopefully some people out in the world can, watching this, or even if it's on repeat, can relate to that a little bit. But it's such an exciting time that we're in, and small business opportunities are just ramping up and ramping up. So I've spent a long time working with a variety of small businesses. I describe myself now as a business improvement specialist, because when people say, what do you do? The answer is often, it depends. What do you need? So I've been doing this for so long that I very confidently say, I probably know the answer to the issue that you're facing. And if I don't, I'll know someone who does. So I know what I'm good at. I know what I can do well. And I also know what I'm not good at. And I love collaborating with people and bringing them into my space and getting my clients to get the best possible expertise in all of their areas. So, I know that there are people that are going to be speaking later on today and tomorrow who are much better at the things that they do than I am. And so I love that opportunity to collaborate. And I think, Sigrid, bringing business women together is a great idea, because I think we do that. That's one of our many strengths, is the ability to collaborate and share ideas. So in that journey, I've spent a lot of time with a number of lots of small business owners, working with them to boost their results, whether that be, I guess I focus mostly on what I call the 3 Ps, which is people, positions, and process. So I was having a chat just yesterday with someone who's saying, do you mean systems? It's like, no, the processes are the little nitty gritty bits that you do on a daily basis. And then the systems are like, you glue all the processes together to create a system for a section of your business. But within the system, there are the processes. The Sigrid de Castaway of writing a book is multiple different processes. And then that comes together to the system that you teach others. And so that's really my passion. And I said in one of the introductory videos that I created for this lovely event, that small business owners have so many challenges in front of them. They have to get the right people in the right positions, doing the right processes at the right time. And all of that's really challenging. So I love being the person that can help them through that, can guide them through that. And I have kind of 2 parts to my world, and I'm going to share a bit of that as I go through some slides that I created to mostly keep me on track, because I have a slight tendency to meander off and talk about whatever. So I've created some slides which I'm going to share now. I hope if we have, oh, sharing is not turned on. Could you organise for me to be able to share, Sigrid? I should have thought of that before we started talking. So clicking and clicking. You should be all right now. Oh, do I need to send request? Don't you love going live? It's fantastic. I love going live. Okay, here we go. So now I can do that button and move that up like that a little bit, and that button. So hopefully now everyone who's watching this can see me and my lovely my co-audience, but also can see the slides. And this, as I said, this is really about me just managing to keep track of everything, because I've worked out that there are a number of things that we need to make sure that we're focusing on if we're wanting to build our business. And I call these the power dozen. They're like the 12 pillars, which sounds very kind of grand, but it's actually very simple steps. What a lot of my small business clients find is that they're trying to do everything all at once. And there is actually something of a sequence, that if you do it in this sequence, things will go smoothly, as opposed to bouncing all over the place, a bit like I've been doing for the last few minutes. So let me share with you some of some lead up things to why do I think this is important and why does it matter. So anyone in the room who has a small business knows that owning a business can be stressful. We have all these things going on that happen on a daily basis. And so we can end up feeling like we've got so many things happening that we are damaging ourselves in the process. And the statistics are awful in terms of small business owners working too long, too hard. They're actually in a scenario where they're working harder than they were when they were employed by someone else, because they haven't got the people, positions, and processes in place to make it easy for them. My pitch when I'm talking to small business owners is you can't have a healthy business if there's not a healthy owner sitting behind it. So all of these things we need to make sure that we're managing all of these stressors and looking after ourselves as well as our business. Some statistics to frighten all of us who are in small business. 33% of small business owners report that they work more than 50 hours a week, and 25% of them work more than 60 hours a week. And I know that Sigrid and I, in the last couple of weeks, have been doing a lot more than that as we've prepared some of these fabulous projects to deliver all of this to you this weekend. So small business owners work really long hours. They worry that the stress of running their business is affecting the people they care about. One of the goals that a lot of my small business clients set is they'd like to be home for dinner with the kids. They'd like to see their children before they go to sleep and still be there when they wake up in the morning. So having that ability to be available to your family. Often I'll have a conversation with a small business owner in the early stages and they say, I got into this business for work-life balance and to spend more time with my family, and I haven't seen any of them for months, and I'm stressed out of my brain. It's like, oh, then the goal is not working. I love talking about that and working out, okay, so what do we need to peel away so that you can actually have a business that is delivering on your goal? I talk about this as your achievement focus. Is your ladder leaning up against the right wall? Are you keeping in mind the big picture that you started business for in the first place? 50% report that stress and mental health issues are affecting the success of their business. As I said, healthy owner, healthy business. And 75% have varying degrees of stated concern about their mental health. It's really worrying that small business owners are feeling like this. But wait, there's more bad news. The statistics are against you. In the last 12 months or so in Australia, and this is just our small island down the south, in the last 12 months, 350,000 businesses were registered in Australia. And regardless of whether you're joining us from Australia, New Zealand, the UK, the US, wherever you are, massive numbers of businesses are opening all the time, and 80% of them fail in the first 3 years. That's universal across the whole of the planet. And 20% of the ones that succeed last less than a year, which means that the business owners have put all this effort into setting it all up, and then it crumbles beneath them. And I just find that incredibly sad. If someone has a dream to build a small business for all kinds of reasons, to have it crumble is just so sad. I always feel really sad when I go past a retail store, for example, that has closed, or a cafe that has closed, because I know that's someone's dreams in tatters. But you can beat the odds by avoiding 3 key problems that I'm going to tell you about, and then we're going to lead into those 12 pillars that are going to help you stay on top. So 3 reasons for business owner overwhelm and how to fix them. So the first, I do have a business overwhelm self-assessment checklist. If you pop into my booth, really happy to just share that to me. Send me an email and say, can I have that checklist to go with this workshop? Happy to share that with you. No obligation, no big sign up. I'll just send it through to you. So reason 1 is poor business structure. This means that they haven't gone to a lawyer and set up the right kind of business structure. They might be a sole trader when that's not the best way for them to operate. They have poor financial management. They're just going to kind of make it up as they go along and think that it's all going to be fine. Or they have insufficient cash flow. Sometimes you can run a business on the smell of an oily rag, but it's better to have a little bit set aside so that you can cope with some of the costs involved, but also keep yourself afloat for long enough. And being realistic about that is a key element of that process. So how do we fix that? We create a good structure and a finance team, and the structure and finance team include people like a good accountant. Not necessarily the first person you need to have, but you need to know someone who is a good accountant, someone who understands small business. Don't get caught up in talking to someone who only works with, massive businesses. They won't understand the ebb and flow of small business. You need a small business accountant. You need a commercial lawyer. You, again, don't have to spend a lot of money, but it's a really good idea to talk to someone about the structures. You need a good financial advisor to know where your money, all the money you're going to make needs to go. An asset finance broker. So depending on the kind of business you're in, you may need to buy equipment, but business owners can get asset finance to buy a car. Speak to your accountant. I'm not a financial expert, but you might need some asset finance for those sorts of things. You need a good bookkeeper. And often this is the first thing that I recommend to my clients, is to get a bookkeeper. Relying on your spouse, your children, or your mate down the road to do your books can end you up in all kinds of trouble. And in most of the countries that I'm talking to today, the tax department will be after you if you're not keeping track of your money well. And the other recommendation, of course, I'm a little bit biased, is that a business coach can be really, really helpful. We can see a way, take a step away from your being right in there every day. It's a bit like when you're in the forest, it's hard to see the trees. You're sort of surrounded by when you're in the forest and all the trees around you, you can't see the big picture. You need someone to help bring you up into the in a helicopter to have a look at the big picture. And a business coach, someone that's outside your business but invested in your success, is a great addition to that team. So reason number 2 is lack of clarity around offering and go-to-market strategy. So I talk to lots of business owners and they know what they love, but they're not sure what their target market is. They're not sure who is going, and so they try to be all things to all people. And if you're all things to all people, then you're usually nothing to nobody. So make sure that you get this right. And the elements include who is or are your target market or markets? How big is that? Or is it too niche, or is it too broad? What are your avatars? That's the ideal client. And I know some fantastic branding and marketing people who help people actually they have a name and what suburbs do they live in, and where did they go to school, and what do they read, and all of that sort of thing. Really try to think about who that person is. Your products and services, not too many, not too few. Are they actually things that people are interested in using and buying and having? And a marketing strategy is a key piece, as well as an implementation plan for all of this. Does that all feel a bit big? Yes, of course it does, which is why sometimes you need someone to guide you through all of this. And this might be a couple of different experts to get you through all of this. The solution is a positioning and marketing team, including a marketing strategist, a web developer, and that sometimes that's the same person, but it should maybe be someone different. A social media expert these days. You need someone with that kind of specialist expertise, an advertising specialist, if you're in that kind of market, if you're in a market where advertising is part of it. If all of your advertising is being done on social media, then the third person can probably help you. And oh, what a surprise, a business coach. And then number 3, a reason for overwhelm is lack of systems and processes. And I was speaking earlier in our opening session about the fact that I love working with people, processes, and people, positions, and processes. And I make a distinction between processes and systems. Processes are the small pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. The systems are the big jigsaw puzzle that takes your client or your customer from making contact with you first. There'll be a series of processes for the system of introducing them, and then a series of processes for the system of bringing them to their first purchase, etc. So there's 2 layers in that. You need IT systems and processes. You need processes for your people, lists of tasks. There's a whole heap of stuff. So you need to develop and implement a business plan, an organization chart, job descriptions, or operational flow charts, task checklists, KPIs and targets, and reward and recognition. You'll remember that I said earlier that some business owners want to do it all on day one. And my recommendation is no, don't do that. This is a step-by-step process that can really help you get control of all of this information. So I have what I call the Mac method, which is a 3-part plan. And the middle part is the piece where I work in a coaching environment with my clients. So let me just share with you this idea. I'll be going into this in more detail. You can see a video in the auditorium on the Mac method, on the 3-part plan. And there's also more information at my booth. So come and visit and I'm happy to share that with you. So the MAC method is a three-part plan. The first is mindset, and there's some fabulous mindset people in this expo. We all have slightly different approaches to it. I'm not going to go through this in detail at the moment, but my piece of the mindset is around maintaining an optimistic approach, no more positive thinking. And I'll talk later about later in my other session about what that looks like, feels like. How do you do that on a daily basis? And then the A is for activity, and that's where I'm going to focus the rest of this presentation. And then the C is for consistency. So consistency of mindset. How do you maintain a mindset? What routines and habits have you got in that space? How do you maintain consistency around the activities that you need to do to deliver great outcomes for your business? And then a consistency in accountability. Who are you answerable to? In some cases, it might just be the tax man and your bank, but I'm hoping that it's also someone else in your world who is your support team and holds you accountable, kind of saying, have you done that thing you said you were going to do? It can be your partner, although that can be a hard job for them. You might be part of a business group and they hold you accountable. You might have a coach or some other kind of mentoring support to keep you accountable and be consistent in doing the things that you say you're going to do so you can build the business of your dreams. So the importance of a business plan, I believe that without a plan, businesses are less likely to thrive. It doesn't need to be a book. It just needs to answer some core questions. And I'm going to give you an opportunity to get access to this list, which has like some cheat sheet notes at the end of this session. But even Yogi Berra, who was a professional baseball coach, says without a plan, even the most brilliant businesses can get lost. We need to have a plan, a process so that we can see where we're going to go. And I also think it's important to look at where you've been, to look backwards as well. So let's have a look at these 12 pillars that I mentioned at the start. So I also have developed an assessment on these. So with a bunch of questions that help you really look at where am I currently, and where in a 5-step sort of assessment scenario, where do I need to be? So again, I don't believe you need to do all of these on day one. In fact, they fall into 4 different categories that I'm going to talk about in a minute. The first 3 are KPIs and goals and targets. So you need KPIs and goals and targets for yourself. And then as you build your business and have more people in your team, you need to be really crystal clear about letting them know what those are. I regularly talk to business owners who are complaining about their staff. And I say, well, how clear are they about your expectations? And they say, well, doesn't everyone know that, the receptionist should do A, B, C, D, or the service advisor should do X, Y, Z? Well, not unless you tell them. And then leading to that is systems and processes. So you can't ask people to follow a process that's only in your head. Why aren't you doing it the way I want you to do it? Because you've never really clearly told me, boss. So systems and processes. And then you need to be good at communicating those systems and processes to your people, but also communication with all of the stakeholders. So in business of all sizes, that includes your suppliers, your support team. So whether that's a business group or whoever else provides you with support. Obviously, your prospects, your clients, the people in your world. A lot of people's families don't really know what they do because there's no communication. So you need like a 360-degree communication plan with all of the people that your business interacts with. So that's kind of group 1, and I'll explain what group 1 is in just a minute. Then we get into a scenario where potentially you have a team. Now, I have a very broad definition of team when I'm working with people. Team might be just you, one person solo. It might be you and your business, your life partner who operates part of your business. So I'm fortunate enough that my husband is also my business manager. So he's the one who says, now, have you sent that invoice and did you follow up with that person? Thank goodness, because he is fantastic at all of that. But it also might be your team might include part-time, virtual, people who work in your office, people who work from home, people who work overseas. They might be contractors who are committed to a certain time with your business. So team used to mean the people who turn up at the office every day from 9 to 5. We've lost that definition, especially in small business. You need to get very creative about who your team is, and then you can implement these next 3. You need to make sure that your own productivity and effectiveness is at its peak and that you understand your strengths and weaknesses in that area. all small business owners need to get good at delegating. I've got a 6-step process of delegation because most people go, I'll just give them that task. It's like, that's not going to work. You need to be more systematic about that. And then the third one is job descriptions. A lot of small business owners just hire someone and then make it up, and then they get really frustrated when 3 months later they're not doing what they want them to do. And so a job description helps you and them understand what you expect of them, and then you can manage against that job description. In Australia, we have a 3 and 6 month probation period, which means that at 3 months you have a conversation with the person and say it's working or it's not working. A lot of business owners can't have that conversation because there's no clear job description, there's no clear expectations. You can't measure against missed. If you want to measure people's progress, you have to have some solid things that you're doing that against. And one of my sayings is, if they have to make it up, they'll make a mess. So make sure that you're getting clear about what you want them to do. So that's group 2. Then group 3 is when you're starting to bring on more people. So you need a clear recruitment process that everyone knows what they're doing. You need induction and orientation when you're bringing new people in. You need performance management, which is keeping them on track. And then the fourth and final one is when you're really at a level where you're starting to do performance appraisal, reward and recognition. And as a business owner, you're doing more coaching of your team than you are doing of the doing. I ran into a lovely plumber in my area just yesterday, and he said, I'm starting to have trouble finding things to do because all of my people are doing all the things that I used to do. I said, yay, that's great. You can start going on holidays. So these are the 4 areas I was talking about. So the business life cycle is this. Initially, you're going to be running alone. That's just you. You probably need a bookkeeper and then an accountant. You'll be offered those people. So the remuneration column is how those people are going to be paid or rewarded. And so the bookkeeper or the accountant will have some kind of fee for service, fee for time. They'll be on the clock. They're not going to necessarily be a full-time part of your business. And the outcome for you is you're either a startup or you're a solopreneur. You're really just running solo. I have in the past had goals of building big businesses, and I've been part of a largish one. Now I'm just me, my business owner, my business manager, part-time bookkeeper. I'm not going to build an empire. Looking at the clock, goodness me, doesn't time fly when you're having fun and chatting about stuff you're passionate about? Level 2 is running alongside. So you have those 2, plus you have some operations and admin and so on. You have some contractors, some employees, some part-timers, etc., etc. This is the growth phase. You're in the business. You're in the messy middle. Everything, you are there all the time. Then you can get it so that it's running without you. So you have all of the above plus sales and finance. You'll have employees, team, usually on salary and wages, but bringing some people in for projects and other things. This is when you can have a holiday, yay, and you can sell the business because it runs without you. And the third one is what some people's goal is, and that is, I would like to just run away, leave my business running for itself, and then you can maybe franchise it, sell it profitably, take long holidays, come back, and the business is still in great shape. So the 2 questions, where are you now? What's the goal? How are you going to get there? So I have 9 optimism principles, if I go back to my mindset, and the 9th one is do stuff. So here's 2 things I think you should do. The first is I have created an ebook that covers all of this. If you click on this, if you take a photo of this QR code, it'll take you to a very, very simple sign-up form, just name, rank, serial number, and you'll get all of that information without no obligation. Would love to share this with the world so more people can have more successful small businesses. And the final thing I'd love you to encourage you to do is come visit my booth, come and pick some stuff up, schedule a meeting. A connection is a key part of all of this. So I hope that's been useful to you. I'm really looking forward to working with you to hopefully help your small business thrive in 2025. Don't you love that that rhymes? Thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to seeing you sometime in the booth.
Absolutely excellent. Thank you so much. No, I have got, there we are. Thank you so much, Helen. You have packed so much into that short period of a time. I think, there are so many individual talks in that one to go back and regroup and think about each one individually. Obviously, you have got the long-term experience, expertise. So you are looking at the entire business complete, which is great. Thank you for sharing all of that. Looking forward to hearing more in other sessions to come. Thanks, Helen.